I see this happen all the time with agents all across the industry, all across the States and Canada. They have their first real breakout year. We're talking hey, I made 6 figures. I'm really starting to get that momentum. I have that validation hey, I did it, right? I was able to accomplish it. Everyone else fails. I know that there's only 87% failure rate, so only 13% of us make it, and I'm one of them. It might take a couple years. It might be the first year, it might be the 5th year, whatever, but they have that breakout year, and then all of a sudden things start feeling heavier, right? This might be describing you, by the way, and it doesn't happen dramatically, right? It happens quietly. You start kind of looking around and going, what's going on here? And this is where most agents get stuck. Now, I'm Isaac Guzman. I'm with Real Estate CEOs and Space Real Estate, powered by LPT Realty. None of that really matters. What does matter is that I've been there. I've helped agents through that. And I'm going to help you through that today in this video. So let's first talk about what Plateau actually is. All right, because a lot of people mistake these things, and in my definition, it's not like production dropping. All right, you didn't go backwards in income or in production. The income may still be okay. It still might be there, and I'll get to some challenges that you run into when it's there. But the thing is that first margin, right? How much money you take home on a given transaction after expenses, clarity, and also control of what's happening in and around your business, that starts to collapse first. All right, this is plateau, signs of plateau, doing more, right? But fewer things are actually moving the needle. Man, I'm actually following up more, but it's not really moving the needle. I'm doing a lot more of this type of activity, but I'm not seeing the results. You're busier, but you're not really progressing. Does that sound familiar? Hey, I feel like I'm constantly working. I had more free time, before I hit this stride, but it still doesn't necessarily mean I'm progressing. My first year, I grew a lot, then 50%, then 50%, then 50%, then 100% year over year. And then all of a sudden it's 12%, these very nominal things. I hit the exact same benchmark I hit last year. And here's the thing, on paper, it looks fine, but internally, that something's off. Like I said, this normally hits after a big 6-figure year. For you, it might be different, right? For you, it might be a $300,000 year. For others, it might be a $100,000 year. For others, it might be a $500,000 year. But somewhere in that 6-figure range, it starts to get there. It's usually the year that you really prove, that the agent really feels like they've proved, I can do this. I've got this thing. I paid all the bills. I quit the job, the other job. I did all the other things. I'm now the primary income earner. I'm kind of crushing it. And when you get there, the business starts changing whether or not you change it. All right, it starts changing. Constraints on your business and your time start to shift, not just because of life, but because business kind of has a life of its own. It's kind of the point of this video, right? Decisions get heavier. Oftentimes they get more costly. What CRM am I going to use? Am I going to hire an assistant? Should I actually invest in this farming campaign? Do I need to invest in higher quality equipment for my videos? Do I need to upgrade the transaction team I'm using? Lots of decisions to make. And here's the thing, structure around running the business, we add a bunch of stuff, not just expenses, but other people, other relationships, other sources of business. And the structure doesn't really keep up fast enough. All right, so here's the thing. It's kind of like this, and I've been there in different facets of my businesses. It feels like this, summed up in it's messier and I'm working harder. Somehow my work is somehow creating more mess than it does production, right? We got more clients, there's more noise, but there's less direction. So what that ends up doing is that the confidence in hey, I know where this is going, your confidence in that tends to drop. I'm here, I'm kind of past where I've ever planned. And so my confidence in where I know this is going tends to drop. Now, here's another thing that sometimes is symptomatic of this, right? Is that sometimes you even feel guilt, right? You're dude, I made $218,000 last year. That's more than I made at the previous job. And people are giving me awards at my office and stuff. Shouldn't I feel more grateful? And then you have this weird guilt. You might be able to empathize or sympathize with that. I definitely know I've been there. And I'm going to tell you the truth. This is not a character issue. This is actually something that we call structural lag. It's where your structure that you're running your business on is lagging behind your actual production, right? Usually we end up hitting stride and things start compounding and we get successful, but we try to maintain that same growth. We want to continue seeing 20, 50, 100% year over year growth, but we haven't structurally changed anything about what we're doing. And that's called structural lag. And people blame themselves until they start realizing this stuff. And so what happens is this, a lot of times, this might be you, is we jump into false solutions. It's these things like more leads, I need more leads. I just need to sign up for more lead vendors. I need to put my credit card on file here. I need to sign up for this referral platform. I want more leads. I need better scripts. You know what? I need to handle objections better. I need a new CRM. This one does all these fancy things. More hours. I just need to work a little bit harder. I'll work an extra hour every single night after I put the kids to bed. I'm hiring without any specific design or actual plan. I'm just going to hire an assistant. I don't know. I'll figure out what they'll do as long as they get my emails. And then, also they need to pick up dry cleaning. No specific design to help build structure around the business. Another one, copying top producers. What do they do? Oh, you know what? And this is a real story. There's an agent in my office back in the day who he worked with divorce and probate attorneys. And I was like, oh, dude, that's what I got to start doing. I'm going to start working with attorneys because he had a constant pipeline of business. But the thing is, he was an attorney. I was not. But I'm over here trying to figure out how I can copy him. Mind you, I didn't even know he was an attorney when I started on the journey of trying to copy him. And it was only until I got to that piece, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. He worked in offices with them. I'm not saying I couldn't have gone out and done it. But what I'm saying is that was my quick fix to get out of that kind of plateau. Now, here's the thing. A lot of those things do work. Getting more leads, why wouldn't you? Better CRM, make sure you have a good CRM. Mimic top producers, right? Success leaves clues. But they stop compounding. Those things work early on and they continue to work in different ways, but they stop compounding in the way that they used to. You can go out and learn one thing, start this new thing, posting this thing or writing these letters or knocking doors or running open houses a specific way, and boom, you'd see huge growth. And it'd build and build and build. Now you're starting to add things and it's just like a little bit of growth. Right? They don't compound the same way that they did because those solved problems in our old business, in our solopreneur, I just trying to find my next deal, not hey, I'm trying to scale this thing into consistent, predictable, and reliable income. Those are two very different things. And so they require different solutions, right? Because when you increase your effort, doesn't necessarily mean you increase your leverage. And that's why it actually feels harder for less return, if that makes any sense, right? I'm putting in more, but I'm getting less of a return. Let's talk about the real constraint, all right? The business right now, if you're facing this, if you know somebody who's facing it, send them this video, because here's the real constraint. The business is still built for the old operator, right? It's still built for that person who's trying to figure out where their next deal is coming from. So the things that worked then don't work now. Success showed up first. Structure has been lagging behind. And that's what this whole video is about. If you want to break it down to something, there is a misalignment. How decisions are made are different at this level. How time is to be spent is different at this level. And what needs to actually be prioritized is different at this level. Straight up, that's just the reality of it. All right. And so when you have a structural lag, it's harder to make decisions. You're less prone to make the right ones. Sometimes they're more expensive, right? You spend your time doing things where you're like, oh my God, I could be doing something better with my time right now. And you're also juggling different priorities when you haven't decided clearly what's the number one thing that if I do that, everything else becomes easier or obsolete. Yes, I stole that line from the book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. Anyways, what used to create momentum, a lot of times now creates friction. Because you're like, oh, what I used to do was run open houses and I crushed it. And I had this whole process and I would build it out this way. And if I got a neighbor to say yes to a listing appointment or come talk to them about their house and show them, comps or whatever it is, I used to do all these things and I crushed it and I would get the listing 90% of the time. Now those things create friction. You're like, oh my God, I'm super busy. I have 3 clients I got to show houses to. I don't have time to go do that. I don't have time to set up the way I used to and get the presentation materials and drop off a pre-listing packet at their door personally. That's what happens. A lot of people, when we look at, the number of times I've sat with an agent and go, all right, let's talk about your conversion rates. And they're selling 12 houses a year, 20 houses a year. And they're like, my conversion rate's 90% on a listing appointment. It's like, all right, well, that's not going to stick around forever, right? Because what you're doing right now is specific to going on 2 listing appointments a month. You have the time. What about when you're going on 1 to 2 a day? Right, if that's where you want to get to. I'm not saying that's where you want to get to, but let's say an agent wants to get to, hey, I'm listing 2-3 homes a week. That conversion rate's not going to be anywhere near 90%, chances are, because you're not going to be able to do all the same stuff. Right? Now, maybe you can, and there's all these other arguments you can make. But what I'm saying is what used to help now oftentimes creates friction. All right. People feel this way long before they could name it, long before they figured out what structural lag actually is. Okay, you start feeling it early. So, okay, Isaac, great. You described it. Now you're giving me more anxiety because I feel like, yeah, that's exactly me. Well, the whole point of this video is what to do next. And I'm going to give you something that's contrary to what most real estate coaches, authority figures, YouTubers, talking heads, whatever you want to call us. What we mostly say is like, hire a real estate coach, join my coaching program, join my team, whatever. You can do all those things, by the way. But this is where I think that most agent advice actually stops helping. This is not a tactic problem. It's not a like, oh, you just got to start doing client appreciation events at movie theaters. It's not it. It's not a motivation problem. Like, you just got to wake up earlier and start like lifting weights and drink a gallon of water every day. You don't need a real estate mentor. Okay, they're really there to just hold your hand through your first few transactions. What you do need, okay, because what you don't need is better contract writing skills. Okay, what you don't need is better negotiating skills in this situation. What you do need is business structure. All right, you need decision-making clarity, and you need a perspective of scaling your business. Like I said, imagine that you're now going from 1 to 2 listings a month to 2 to 3 listing appointments or even listings signed per week. That is a scale problem. All right. So the next right move is to actually sit with a business coach or consultant, not somebody who's a real estate coach. Now, there might be plenty of real estate coaches that are also business coaches. Okay, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying go find somebody who focuses on coaching business owners who might have clients that are plumbers and roofers and, small businesses and that are insurance salespeople, whatever it is, somebody who says, look, I'm going to help you scale your business, not sell more real estate, because those are two very different things. Anybody could sell more real estate, just take more time, burn the candle at both ends, stress yourself out more, waste more money on nonsense. You could sell more houses that way, sure. But building out and bridging that gap and the structural lag, that's going to take somebody who actually understands business at a different level. All right, someone who looks at the entire operation, not just, oh, hey, here's a quick hack or a gimmick that'll help you sell 2 more houses this year. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure 2 more houses is great, but at what cost? All right, and your purpose going into that is not to be told what to do. It's actually, this is the crazy part, a good coach isn't going to necessarily tell you what to do, although they'll have plenty of that, help you identify blind spots on what you're doing. As a matter of fact, if you went in and wrote your annual plan, right, your business plan for the next 90 days, and instead of writing where you want to be and all the typical stuff, you said, I'm going to build a plan to have the right tools, the right systems, and the right process to take 3 listings a week. That would look very different, right? You can already start thinking about like, whoa, I have a big blind spot on, I don't know, how I prepare for listing presentations. I don't do it the same way every time. I don't order the same materials. I don't show up exactly the same way, going through the same stuff every time. So if there's no consistency, there's no repeatability. If there's no repeatability, there's no ability to predict what's going to be the outcome. And here's the problem. Most of us have no life in our business, right? We have no, what I call CPR, consistent, predictable, reliable income. And it's because of that. All right. So here's the thing. Why good agents plateau after they make it is because structural lag. It's not failure. All right. The business just outgrew the original design. And that's a good thing. It becomes a bad and toxic thing if you let it go on. Once you see that, once you grasp a hold of what I'm talking about, the last few years might make a lot more sense for you. And so that's it. I don't got a call to action for you. I'm not going to try to coach you here. What I will say is this: go find a business consultant, a business coach that can help you scale. Here's some things that you might think about. There's a operating system called EOS. It stands for an entrepreneurial operating system. Get the book Traction. It's a great way to start thinking about that. There's Good to Great. That's another way to think about it. But I would encourage you, start thinking about it like a business. Well, Isaac, there's only one of me in this business. That's exactly the problem. Okay, you might be the only agent in there, but why are you the only person in there? Why don't you have an assistant with a plan? Why don't you have a business coach who's helping you develop your metrics and build out the entirety of your business? We got to have those people. I mean, again, I'm not talking to a brand new agent. I'm talking to you. You made $300,000, $500,000, $700,000 last year, and yet you're still drowning? Dude, spend some of that money to build it like a real business. So EOS is the one that we've used. I mean, it's the only one I'm going to recommend, mainly because it's the only one I've ever seen for sure work with businesses as they scale up. And there's like a micro version of it, and you can do all this stuff. I highly encourage you. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form, but every successful team that I've run and been a part of the leadership team on, we use EOS. All right, and it stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. Think about it. What other OSs are there? There's Mac OS, iOS, Android OS, right? What that means is it's how does your business operate as a default? Like right now, my iOS, if I click a link inside text messaging, the default is it opens in Safari. It doesn't guess and choose a different browser every time. It has an operating system that it follows. And so that's how real businesses in real estate scale up. So if you've been feeling that way, I encourage you, go look it up. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel encouraged to drop it in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you share this video. Comment and like it, please. That helps support us. But also, even more than that, share this with somebody who might be plateauing in their business. Until next time, keep crushing it in real estate.